Hello, everyone. Welcome back. You are watching the Kaiser Report, and we're here to talk to you today about a few things that are happening around the world and in our country today. We have to realize that there is a powder keg brewing in the Middle East, and it is evident that they have already shot the first warning shot across the bow of the USS Lincoln the day before yesterday, and it was dealt with. Whether or not they are going to come to a table, but I find that hard to believe, because the Iranian parliament met and burned the American flag in front of their clapping crowd, yelling, "Death to America." So I'm not quite sure how this is all going to end or what is going to start it. But the good news is that there is a ceasefire deal working out between the Ukraine and Putin in Russia. So hopefully that will come to a fairly quick end if Zelensky plays ball this time and Putin doesn't decide to lob in a few more missiles. We've watched it build to a crescendo and then deteriorate on several occasions, and the same thing has been happening in the Middle East with Israel and Hamas. We know it now, and it's one of those things that is going to take time. The Israel-Hamas thing is looking good. However, if Iran decides to utilize the Houthi rebels and some of the factions that they have implanted around the world to cause havoc, this will be a continuation of problem after problem. It is evident that that will take place. So we need to pray and pray often for peace around this world and peace in the streets of our country, and the cessation of fraud and bad behavior, not only in the state of Minnesota, but all through the United States of America. It was reported yesterday that Massachusetts has uncovered a vast amount of fraud one more time. Fraud that was related to the EBT cards with stolen identities that amounted to millions and millions of dollars in fraud. And this money did not stay in the state of Massachusetts or even the United States. It was peppered around the world and sent to other places such as Venezuela and foreign countries that we should not be supporting with our tax dollars. And in some cases, it went directly into the drug trade that we are fighting so hard to alleviate here in these United States. Drug deaths and overdose deaths are down. This is a direct result of what our government has done through Border Patrol and through ICE. The upset that you see in the streets in Minnesota, we've told you many times, is a pure and simple cover-up. And these are paid protesters that are there to make you believe that there's something wrong with ICE, when we all know now there is something wrong with a government who let $19 billion in fraudulent payments go to Somalia and be laundered, and in some cases helped by banking individuals to launder this kind of cash. And yes, realize, please, that the Somali communities, not only in Minnesota, but in Maine and other states where our past president, Barack Obama, placed them, have been at this now for years and successful at stealing our hard-earned tax dollars. I'm, for one, very happy that we have an administration that has looked into it and has taken action to actually do something about stopping this. Are we going to claw back this money? It's highly doubtful in the fact that it's all gone out of this country. It did no good, and when we look at the 13 to 16 people that have lost their life in the cold in New York City, and in the cold in Chicago and places around the country that were hit with this last cold, ice, and snowstorms, that money could have been a great help in putting those people in some housing that had heat or a temporary shelter to save their lives. But no, we have Somalis running around in Minnesota in G-Wagons, which are worth over $100,000, and Ferraris and Lotuses, and then a fleet of vans that go nowhere for transportation that they charge us for daily. The health care system that Schumer fights so hard to give back to them has been part and parcel of the problem of the fraud that has taken place. It's almost incredible. As far as the riots that are going on in the streets and possibly the new riots that will happen as we move into other states to look at what is taking place there, especially California, where Newsom is hot and heavy on the trail of talk shows to promote his great looks and hair and do his hand signals that it's all about that. He's looked into none of this, but now we will look into it and we will find it. How much can we claw back? The president says if we got it all back, we could solve the budget deficit. That's how massive it is, folks. This is not a fun situation by any stretch of the means. So, let's see where it goes, but don't be fooled by the people that are blockading. You actually have these activists, these Antifa people, putting roadblocks up in the streets of Minneapolis, stopping everyday individuals and asking for their paperwork. Like, you want to talk about who the Nazis are, you're looking at it in this. Papers, please, or you can't pass here. Does that sound familiar? They have no right to be the policeman to stop you. It should only be reserved for a law enforcement person to ask you for your documentation or your driver's license to see if you fit in that community. These people are crazy. Don't get sucked into any of this. Don't get sucked into what the government is trying to preach out of Schumer's mouth about Jim Crow. It is almost hypocritical that they will use Jim Crow to prevent voter identification when full well we know you need an identification to get into a baseball game even, to buy anything, to get a driver's license, to use your driver's license to travel. You can't do anything without identification. And now they want to make it a racial thing. We know full well that no one is walking around in this country that is a citizen of this country that does not have some form of identification or another, unless they're illegally in this country through crashing the border and should not be eligible to vote in the first place. It's almost comical when you think about a person like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and even some on the right that are prattling against this SAVE Act, which simply will save America if allowed to go through. They're on the losing end of everything, but they just don't realize that their time in Congress and in the Senate is coming to a close because the people of America, especially the 77 million of us that voted for Donald Trump to do exactly what he's doing, are going to stand behind the fact that we're not going to allow another 4 years of a Biden-esque escapade that took place under he and Kamala Harris, backed by Chuckles the Clown Schumer and Nancy the washed-up Pelosi. These two individuals have passed their expiration dates. They need to go home and enjoy the ice cream out of their expensive refrigerators that you and I paid for. And that's the long and short of it. So that'll take us over to The View. These people, especially Behar, are completely devoid of understanding what it is that they came out and talk about every day. They don't understand their own prattle. It's clearly evident in their defense of Don Lemon yesterday on The View. Let's take a look at that.
So, I mean, all I can say is it's in the Constitution, the right to protest. And he wasn't even there protesting. He was there as a journalist.
Yeah, correct.
And I think they want to use him as some kind of a, an example to intimidate other journalists.
Other journalists.
But, I was reading something the other day about World War II.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
When the Americans liberated Dachau after World War II, after the Holocaust, Dwight D. Eisenhower said, take pictures of these concentration camps because years will go by and people will not believe this happened.
Yeah.
So this administration does not really like somebody like Don Lemon, who has a camera, who has a position like we do in a way, to speak to the people and tell them what really is going on. God bless Dwight D. Eisenhower and Don Lemon.
Yeah.
And I would just like to add that I think they've made him more popular than ever.
Yes.
He now will triple his viewership on his podcast. Good for you.
He will.
He now will triple his viewership on his podcast.
You can see for yourself. Let's take a look.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the Get your ass.
Just like to add that I think they've made him more popular than ever.
Yes.
He now will triple his viewership on his podcast. Good for you.
Well, folks, Mama's wrong again.
It's hard to believe that they will come out with the things that they say and do and have no idea of what it takes to research a statement before you come out with it. That show is the most bizarre collection of hens that I have ever witnessed in my entire life. I've never actually watched the show. I watched the excerpts that come from that show, and that is enough to convince me that you would have to be a mindless idiot to sit there for the full length of ABC's showing of that particular program. On this program, we watch snippets from this, that, and the other program, so we're looking for satire, and that's what they provide us. They're not providing us useful information. They're not bringing on guests there that are telling us the truth or have something magnificent to talk to us about. They have agendas, and they have stupidity reigning supreme on The View. And it's almost sad, if it wasn't so funny, to think about that. And the other thing is that I want to talk a little bit about today is the chipmunk tooth governor of New York. She is another one that is devoid of any common sense at all. And this is evidenced by the statements that she came out with about 3D printers, making 3D printed guns, and the amount of firing power that she believes should be banned. It is almost incredible, and if I tried to explain it to you in a proper fashion, there are no words to tell you other than let you watch exactly what it is that Hochul had to say recently. Take a look here.
We stemmed the tide of firearms that were flowing into our state along the iron pipeline. But now we're taking aim at the plastic pipeline. This is incredible. Illegal 3D printed ghost guns are now homemade killing machines, assembled with pieces you can easily purchase. And how is that possible? To fight back, I'm proposing the first in the nation law requiring all 3D printers sold in the state of New York to include software that blocks the printer from creating a gun. It's just common sense. Just common sense. And we're putting gun manufacturers on notice. You will no longer sell handguns that can be converted into semi-automatic machines able to fire 1,200 rounds a minute. Not here, not in New York.
What the hell did you just say?
You will no longer sell handguns that can be converted into semi-automatic machines able to fire 1,200 rounds a minute. 1,200 rounds a minute.
Yeah, but how?
How is that possible?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
It made it harder for people to buy stabilized braces. Put a pistol on a brace, it turns into a gun. Makes it more, you can have a higher caliber weapon, a higher caliber bullet coming out of that gun. It's essentially turning it into a short barrel rifle.
It's just common sense.
No, it's not.
It's unbelievable and so bizarre that at this time that she would come up with this. But there you go. It's all about banning the guns. You have a Virginia governor that's talking about it. You have Hochul talking about it. They're all talking about it. They do not want you to be able to responsibly own a handgun or any other kind of gun when they come down to it. But uniquely, each and every one of these individuals has armed guards at their side at every minute of the day and surrounding their residences. And there's perfectly okay for that. It's mind-boggling. But this is what they do. They throw that up anytime there's a shooting because that is a talking point to distract you from what they're really saying. It's hard to believe that they're that crazy. So I ask you all to remember daily to pray for our president, pray for this cabinet that they are able to complete and follow through with the work that has been started and the work that has been successful to a date. It is a year out, and we've seen magnificent moves forward to address the situations that we, the voters, put him there to do. And people will say to me from time to time, he keeps telling us everything he's doing. He has to tell us almost on a daily basis the successes of moving forward with his agenda, because the news media will try to shade it just the opposite of what is taking place. We see this every day on mainstream media, where they take a different view of every success and try to make it a failure to benefit one side or deter from the other side of the successes that have taken place. Affordability was their big slogan going in to the first of the year. The Democrats brought us on affordability. There is no question about the 4 years of unaffordability since COVID and since the Biden-Harris Build Back Better situation took control. It didn't get built back better. It was torn down. It was dumbed down. Ideologies were the thing of the day. They didn't care what your thoughts were. You were not allowed to speak. You were to take what we tell you is this about gender, this about the flag, this about Palestine, and you have to go and believe it, and you silence yourself because you do not have an opinion. That's what we lived under, and we watched the lawfare, the weaponization of our Justice Department, all to get one man and one party and keep them from working for the United States people, the people who voted for them in the first place, and the people that just recently voted to change all that. So now we have them in the streets telling us we made the wrong decision. Just like they told us all of the nonsense they told us about the science that was going to take place and what you had to do and remain in place and keep your children home, lose your job, and then, by the way, benefit from the PPP when you find out the keyholes to use it fraudulently. And this was done more often than you can believe. Finally, yesterday, we got some good news about the attempted assassination of Donald Trump when he was running for president. One away. We still are in complete wonderment about the first attempt on his life. That was a weaponized cover-up if you've ever seen one, in my estimation. But maybe something will come clear about that. They used the Epstein files to fool us all because they were hoping and praying to their God, whoever that is, that they would find something that involved the Trump family. It ended up backfiring on them because it did not do what they designed it to do. It hurt more people that did not need to be hurt, and I, for one, am sick and tired of hearing about the Epstein files. If you want to do something, what you have found out now, work on that, take it wherever it's going to go, or leave it alone. You decide. But it's crazy, and it's a distraction. The Democrat Party right now is living on your distraction, because if you stop and think about the everyday things that are coming out about that party and some on the right, you're going to say to yourself, I can never elect these people again. So they have to have distractions. If it's the Epstein file today, it'll be the Iranian file tomorrow, or this file or that file. Confusion is the Democratic Party. The more distracted and confused and in fear that you are, is a campaign promise from them. Never, ever be fooled again. And pray every day, as I ask you here, usually on our prayer corner, to please ask God for the guidance to understand and the grace to understand what really is going on in this country. What really this administration has accomplished and needs to accomplish even more. We have to be cognizant of the facts, not what mainstream media wants to shade, or take a photograph of a situation and make the photograph through AI something that isn't. This is now what the media is all about. Fakery. They're pure fakes. Highly paid actors and actresses to sit in the seats of the newsrooms to make you believe something from this side of the fence, not looking over the fence to see the other half. These are the times that we need, as thinking individuals, to think and sort out for ourselves. We can no longer be told how to think and how to act by any politician, especially a career politician that you should never vote for again. Career politicians are the problem. We need term limits. Term limits, unfortunately, have to be approved by the very people that do not want the term limits because they are on that gravy train. They are on that power trip that they should not be on. They should all be going to their house of worship and asking for guidance themselves. Because we certainly, in most cases, in our Congress, we're devoid of correct thinking. Listen to Chuck Schumer. Listen to Hakeem Jeffries. You'll quickly realize this doesn't work. How many more times do we want to shut the government down so they can get their little temper tantrum and get their way? It's not working, folks. And we know it now. And that worries the politicians that need you to stay in fear, stay worried, and stay concerned that maybe an administration that's actually doing the job we elected them to do may be doing it wrong? I don't think so. Just ask Tom Homan. So yes, the president will tell you every day what they have succeeded in and what they hope to succeed in. And we, as people with telephones and computers, should write them every day and tell them what your thoughts are. They hear from the crazies in the streets, but they don't hear from the silent majority, which is you and I. And with that, we're going to wish you a very happy rest of this Thursday. And stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned. We'll be back to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye now. God bless you all.